Hello everyone, Sean Pham here with a video of my custom competition pistol build. Before we get into this, if you want to see more videos like this, just click below on my subscribe button, and thank you for the patronage. Okay, so before we start reviewing this pistol, obviously I'm going to show you that it is clear. No ammunition whatsoever, no magazine, nothing on the table. The gun is completely clear. So that's out of the way. All right, so this pistol was basically completely built by cajungunworks internally. A lot of parts by them. Externally, a few parts by me and maybe one or two other companies. Big thing on top is my optic by Trijicon, model SRO, and a 2.5 MOA. Great optic. As you can see, very generous window. Great for competition. Not so great for heavy usage, rough usage, but for competition, doesn't get much better than that. The gold slide that you see on top, that was lightning cut and milled by Primary Machines. Great company. I believe that it only took about 7 days after me ordering it and paying for it and it arriving at my door. So thumbs up to Primary Machines. Oh, by the way, none of these guys are paying me for this video. All this was paid out of pocket by me. Down here we have the bogey grips by what is it? Lock grips, grip locks, something like that. I'll put a link below. All right. Other than that, that's everything on the external. The fun stuff is what's inside the gun, and I'm going to show that to you right about now. All right, guys, here we go. This is my competition pistol with all of its guts and glory. This is what turns my gun from a really good shooting pistol to an amazing shooting pistol. If you do have a Shadow 2 and you do run in competition, I would highly suggest you get some or all of these parts. It really changes your gun and brings it to the next level. So let's jump right into it. Just moving from this side over, we'll start with the hammer spring. So this is Cajun's hammer spring. This is their 8.5 pound hammer spring. They recommend this for use with only Federal ammunition or Federal primers. Anything other than Federal, your ammunition might not ignite. If you don't run Federal, they suggest the 11.5 hammer spring. But if you are running Federal, their white spring, 8.5 pounds, that's the way to go. Moving on to their hammer. This is the factory hammer struts. This is their factory race hammer. This alone was supposed to take your single action down to like 3.8 pounds. With everything else, is going to take it down even a higher number than that. We'll talk about that in a second. So what's done here is on the side of the hammer, I don't know if you can see it, it's been polished to almost a mirror finish. That really helps smooth out the trigger pull. If you do get this, I'd get a Dremel to this. Just do a little bit at a time, and this will really smooth out that trigger pull. It's really nice. This is also their this is Cajun's disconnector. It's their what do they call it? They call it the ultra short reset disconnector. It really shortens the reset of your single action. It's extremely noticeable from factory to this. We also polished this tip right here. I don't know if you can kind of see it in the video, but this has been polished to help smooth out as it's riding on the frame. That's a must do. Not too much, just a little bit, or just smooth out the metal. Moving on, this is the factory extended safety. I like it a lot over the flush one because it gives me a place to rest my thumb as I'm shooting. It gives me a positive feedback that I have my grips more than likely in the right place. I really like this. Get some getting used to though when you first use it, but I like this much better than the flush. This is just the factory firing pin block, nothing to speak of there. Now this is Cajun's extended firing pin with their reduced firing pin spring. This is a must-have. The extended firing pin helps your ammunition ignite every time. This is a must. Okay, moving on. This is kind of the heart and soul of the pistol. This is their sear cage and sear. The sear cage itself is a factory sear cage, but if you can, I don't know if you can see in the video, but down at the very bottom, that is been polished to hell. That is that helps where the disconnector rides on, and it really helps smooth out your single action pulls or your double action pulls, just your trigger point in general. It really smooths out. So if you do some work, get a Dremel, slightly get down here, buff it out, smooth it out. It'll really help that trigger feel. Now this is their actual sear. It's an adjustable sear. What Cajun says is that it allows for clearance between the sear nose and the manual safety. It's adjustable, so you can adjust it. One thing to be said, though, to be noted, once you have this installed, you cannot do not apply the safety in double action and pull that trigger. You will ruin this reset, the adjustable screw here. So just a fair warning, okay? Moving on, this is just their factory barrel. As you can see, though, on the feed ramp, I did polish this to a mirror finish. This really helps the ammunition load smoothly into the gun. I pretty much, every time I clean the gun, I used to take a Dremel and just polish it up a little bit more every time. It really makes a difference. So this is that primary machine slide that we spoke of earlier with the trijicon on top. Nothing really special here other than the slide. This is the factory extractor. This is the factory barrel bushing. I will change this out to the Cajun barrel bushing. It's supposed to make your shots a little bit tighter, but I like the gold on here, and it's not a big difference. I have it on my spare gun. It makes a difference, but not a whole lot of difference, and that's why I haven't changed that out yet. But the slide is pretty darn sexy, I would say. All right, moving on. This is their factory guide rod. Originally I did have the plastic guide rod for reduced weight, but USPSA just changed the rules to for a heavier allowed weight in carryoptics in production. So I chose to go back to the factory guide rod for more weight, help in recoil management. This is Cajun's reduced recoil spring. I'm running their red 12-pound recoil spring. This really helps the gun cycle a little bit faster. Just keep in mind that the gun will slide back very quickly. And if you want to preserve your slide stop for an extra 5,000 to 10,000 rounds, I would suggest you run their buffer. It really helps with that slide shock. It'll help you it'll help your slide stop, factory slide stop, last for another 5,000 to 10,000 rounds. Over here is just the factory pins, their factory hammer plug, factory magazine guide, nothing really to speak of there. And these are my lock grips. These are their bogies. This is their most aggressive plates. I really like this. If you like something really aggressive, this is the way to go. We're almost done. Inside here, I didn't want to take this apart because it's a pain in the ass to put back together, but if you can see right in, let me get something to point with, right there, that is their Cajun's reduced power return spring. It takes off about a ½ pound off your double action trigger pull, and it's a must have. That is going along with Cajun's reach reduction trigger. What this does is it moves the trigger in their full reset position back a little bit, so as you grip your gun, you don't have to reach so far to get to your trigger. It really helps for guys with small hands like me. It's a really must-have to be able to shoot the gun a little bit faster, and has positive reset on that as well. That's pretty much it. That's the whole gun. This is what makes my gun tick. I love it. let's put it back together. Right about now that the pistol's put back together, we'll just do a quick function check to make sure everything is working properly. And for the guys who are curious, on my double action here, with all that external or internal work done to the gun, I've got on my double action, I have about a 4.5 pound trigger pull, which is very, very smooth kind of trigger pull. And on my single action, it's a sweet 1.8 pound trigger pull. Very, very light. You know, if you can see here, giving almost no pressure on the gun. Here's a half fingertip kind of pull, and it's very, very, very light. Well, this is my custom CZ Shadow 2 build. Hope you liked the video, and like I said, click below to subscribe. Thanks for watching.